Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Dizer, and I'm here with my Dami Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lane. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
I can't stop laughing about what you posted on Facebook the other day about British Columbia.
Oh.
So I went on at work to check and see this ad that I ran, promoting the new year and our programs and getting the word out there, and the first thing that pops up is was it a picture or was it the video? It was the video of BC we had seen.
It's this beautiful video of BC that's just
it's awesome.
It embodies why we love it so much. It was beautifully shot and just showcases everything we love about British Columbia.
Yeah, it was done by the province, and they do it every year, but this time it was like
it was breathtaking.
It's like 5 minutes long, and it's incredible.
It hit all the points too. Like, we have been to most of the places they showcase, and what the emotions they bring out is how we feel when we're in that, which is pretty unique.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyway.
The woman talking, it's like,
she's
it's quite moving.
Oh, yes. But anyway.
So I read the first line, and do you want me to say what it said, or do you want to
go ahead.
I read the first line, and it just says, BC stole me heart. And I was thinking, wait a second here.
Oh
my gosh, it's so funny.
So if you follow me at all, if you hear any weird noises, it's Bridget. I had to bath her this morning, and she's having a hard time adjusting to being this cold this early in the morning.
Yeah, it's rough out there. So
if you follow me at all, I have a horrible problem with social media spelling, grammar, and autocorrect. It plagues my existence.
Oh, yeah.
It is something I can't get rid of, and something that strikes us really funny.
Well, especially when you hit autocorrects and that BC
stole me heart.
Oh, it was so funny.
Oh, anyway.
I don't think anyone else saw it.
Oh, I'm sure people saw
it.
Well,
no one said anything.
Usually, yeah, sometimes I get told off, and sometimes people are just like, oh, this girl, she's just not all there. But it strikes us so funny.
We just left no edit on that.
Well, it's not that. It's that I'm always doing a million things at once. And if it just autocorrects, I just go with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we could easily go back and edit it, but I don't think it's worth it. I think it's better this way.
It strikes me funny, so...
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I don't know what people think.
Hopefully they enjoy it.
Oh, I mean, it strikes us funny.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It made our week. So.
Yeah. So I've got some health news for the day.
Oh.
You ready to hear it?
Oh, I can't wait.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I've got some good stories.
Okay.
Not as depressing as yesterday.
I know, it's hard.
It can be hard out there. So, some things that I think you'll enjoy. Let's start with something from Time Magazine today. Really simple study showing that when people make their own food, they like it better.
Really?
Yeah, especially when it's healthy food. Now, this is just a preliminary study, and they just used smoothies.
Yeah. Well,
So what they had people make their own smoothies where they knew the ingredients and it was a healthy one. Mm-hmm. Then they had people make their own smoothies where they made an unhealthy one, a chocolate one. And then they had people try the same smoothies made by someone else. And the people with the highest enjoyment of the smoothies were the ones who made the healthy ones themselves. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
But it makes sense when you think about it, because how rewarding is it when you put a bunch of greens and fruit into a smoothie, and then you have it, you feel like not only does it taste good because of the fruit, but it actually feels good to do.
Well, yes, and you know what's in it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're contributing to your health.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it was interesting.
That is
It was only 120 people, but I mean, the people who made their own clearly liked it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even better than the chocolate one.
Ah, because they knew they were doing something good for themselves.
Yeah. It's like a double whammy.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's neat.
Well, that's good.
That is good. Now, you have this unbelievable talent to make smoothies out of anything.
Let's not go crazy.
But the combination, like yesterday's combination, what was this?
Well, yesterday, because I love the flavor of those chimes. And I also had a lot of produce left over because I decorated this year all organic, compostable Christmas. This was my big kick. So I still have...
Yes, if you wanted an orange, you had to go to the decorations to grab.
That's right.
I tell all my patients about that.
No, you do.
Oh, yeah.
What do they say?
They think it's funny.
Oh, okay. Bridget, please stop, honey. Okay, so... Oh.
Get cozy, Bridget.
I'm going to have to take pictures and share this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I decorated with a lot of oranges and greenery. And as we wanted oranges, we would go take it from the Christmas decorations. And I had a lot of ginger. So I just had leftover produce. So I decided I wanted to make a hybrid smoothie of... Remember the classic Orange Julius when you were little? Which is basically a creamsicle in a cup.
Oh, yeah.
And chimes. I love the orange flavored gingins when I have an upset stomach. I make them with dates. I'll link those recipes too. But anyway, I combined the two. So the smoothie was orange ginger, creamsicle basically.
Nice.
And it was delicious. It was
Sounds
warming
good.
as well.
Yeah, I bet. With the
liked
ginger.
That. Yeah.
If you don't know what chimes are, chimes or gingins. They're ginger candies that you use when you're feeling nauseous or...
Yeah, they're basically, the ingredients are ginger, sugar, and tapioca starch.
Yes.
So it makes it chewy. So what I've done is I've eliminated the added sugar by using dates. So you can make these gingins, which actually do help when you're feeling nauseated.
Oh, yes.
With just ginger, dates, little vanilla extract, blend it together, form it into balls. Delicious.
Right. Now that smoothie's on the blog now.
Yes.
Okay.
It's live, yeah.
Great.
And the gingins are linked in the smoothie post as well. So.
Yeah, the homemade, your homemade ones. Those are good.
Oh, I love them.
Those are good.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to health story number 2. You ready for this?
Oh.
Okay, so I was looking at The Guardian, which is a UK publication, and The Guardian they were saying that they're making big changes to their alcohol limits or not limits, but their recommendations in the UK this year. Basically, based on this new research, I don't think it's new. It doesn't sound new to me that when you consume alcohol, your blood pressure goes up, your cholesterol goes up, your liver enzymes go up. It's just bad for your long-term health. Consuming alcohol in general, which we sort of know, and we base our recommendations on the minor benefits you can get from certain alcohols. Now, I believe that Health Canada's recommendations, and maybe the same with the U.S. recommendations, is for women no more than 7 drinks a week, and for men 14. Now, the UK recommendations were 21 for men and 14 for women. So they're making big changes to that based on this research that the changes are coming out at the end of the month. But the basis is that...
That's not going to go over well.
No, it's not. According to the study, there's absolutely no safe limit for alcohol when you're looking at these measures of health. And that the long-term health consequences are obviously negative. So what they're going to do is I assume they're going to come out with recommendations that are similar to ours. Which I thought was interesting to see that their recommendations for males were 21 units a week. That's a lot of drinks.
I know. Yeah, that is a lot of drinks. The weirdest part about that is that all these studies that come out that are, having a glass of wine every day is equivalent to exercise. That was a study going around Facebook. And,
yeah, it was.
I mean, you really have to read the specifics of that. I think they were talking about the relaxation effects.
Yeah,
so I think that's more about reducing anxieties because there's a plethora of other things aside from alcohol that you can use. Not that I'm saying that everyone should cut out alcohol, but I think they probably could have done that study with every day having a candlelit bath, or whatever reduces anxiety for certain people.
The way we're studying alcohol, you're gonna find some benefit for some marker.
And I mean, there's a lot of money in alcohol, so there's gonna be you have to look at who. The tricky thing about studies is, and it's not easy to find a lot of the time, is who's funding what studies, right? And how they're framed.
No, you have to look at the bias.
But you can find a million good studies for.
Oh yeah.
For drinking alcohol.
So many good studies for red wine.
For relaxation, for brain health. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to...
Yeah, we're not saying cut out alcohol, but it's going to be interesting.
I'm not saying drink alcohol either.
No.
I'm pretty neutral on the topic.
Yeah. At the end of the month, we'll have some new recommendations out of the UK, and then we can compare them to the North American recommendations and see what everyone is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. That is interesting.
Health news number 3. Another interesting one that I think is applicable to us and to everyone listening. And it sort of goes along with the first story, so it'll be applicable to everyone on the DAMI programs. They put people in a room and had them eat healthy foods and unhealthy foods. Actually, no, this study was just with unhealthy foods, so it's different than the first study.
Okay.
But in the rooms that had mirrors, the people found the unhealthy food less tasty.
Okay, say that again.
So, people in 2 rooms.
Okay.
One room has people eating unhealthy food, and they're loving it, okay? It's high carb, whatever. They put the same foods for people in another room, but the room has mirrors. So you can see the food from a second angle.
Food, but
they still ate it, but they didn't find it as good.
Huh.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So you have this secondary recognition of what you're consuming, and the actual taste of the food went down. So it gives you an idea about how...
Is it, or is the idea of the mirror, like, maybe they're shaming themselves?
I would assume there's a bit of shame in that when you're eating that kind of food. That's probably the basis for it. There's... The publisher has a little bit of information about it here.
Yeah, I wonder if it's from a negative standpoint or a positive standpoint. Like, I wonder if the mirrors gave them self-reflection and were like, what am I doing to my body? This isn't great. Or was it more like, look at you, you're a mess? It
came out of Central Florida, and the lead researcher said, a glance in the mirror tells people more than just about their physical appearance. It enables them to view themselves objectively and helps them to judge themselves and their behaviors in the same way that they judge others. He found that mirrors can push people to compare and match their behaviors with social standards of correctness. Accordingly, when one fails to follow the standards, he or she does not want to look at a mirror because it enhances the discomfort of the failure. So it was a negative feedback loop.
Isn't that strange?
In the room.
Isn't that
for
interesting?
people, because people want to be healthy. They do. People definitely want to be healthy, and this study shows that there is that shame, like you're saying, associated with it. But the real point is that the shame doesn't work if
long term. It
doesn't work long term, but in the moment it doesn't work if the mirror wasn't there as much. The shame was enhanced.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like when we talk about that I think being embarrassed is so important.
Yeah, it can push you to change.
Like, times in my life that I've really examined certain things and I allowed myself to get embarrassed. And I don't mean embarrassed as in, toilet paper stuck to your shoe in a public place. I mean get embarrassed, like, reflecting on actions or things that I participated in, and then I get to a place where I'm embarrassed that I ever went there. And if I really think about a behavior long enough and get to the point where I can get embarrassed, I know that I'll change. So for me, embarrassment has been a really, really powerful tool and a marker for, oh, okay, you're ready. You realize what this behavior is. You're going to move on.
That realization that you come to, that's the most important point.
Yeah. But a lot of people won't go to embarrassed. Like,
no.
The walls that we put up to protect ourselves from seeing the reality of things is unbelievable.
So how, when you're getting to that point, how do you let those walls down? How does it get to that point where you can feel embarrassed and you can make change from that? I suppose it's a lot of self-work that went into it.
Yeah.
I know for me, it's like with negative thinking.
Right.
With complete negative thinking, I heard from Tony Robbins once that he was stating about how negative thinking made him feel embarrassed about it because, not embarrassed, he used a different emotion, but the emotion basically brought you back to that negative thinking had no positive impact on your life. Right. So why would you do that?
That's right. And I think that in the last few years I've just become so clear on respecting the life that I have respecting the current, circumstances, body, this one shot at this particular algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
And I so deeply want to make the most of it that I'm constantly going back and filtering through, okay, what is this working anymore? And now it's much more clear, but back in the day, I mean, there was just so much for me to think about and reflect on, and I would put up so many barriers. Like specifically, we'll talk about, say, diet and exercise. I would, behave in disorderly behaviors around eating,
mm-hmm.
but I would protect myself by saying, well, I eat really little, and the things I eat are really healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not losing weight? And I would just sit around and cry, and no matter what quote-unquote program I was using, I couldn't succeed because I wasn't being honest about my behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
I was keeping it superficial. And that's like a lot of people I meet, until they're ready. If you're defensive around what you're currently doing, and if what you're currently doing doesn't work, you're not ready.
Right.
Like I'll meet a lot of people and they'll come to me and they'll say, okay, I'm ready. I want to lose weight. I need to lose weight. And they'll say, but this is what I do for exercise. This is what I enjoy for treats.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I'm going to do. Well, if what you've done all this time hasn't got you to where you want to be,
mm-hmm.
the result isn't going to be any difference with me carrying on with you.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly, it's that defenselessness.
Right, you have to come into change without being defensive.
Mm-hmm. So that's the only way to get to that embarrassing moment.
Yeah, and you can use different words for it. For me, it's embarrassment. I look back on things, like I said, like I feel embarrassed that I wasted basically from the time I was 12
mm-hmm.
to the time I was, we'll say 25.
Mm-hmm.
I just beat myself up internally and then chose behaviors that hurt myself physically and emotionally, and then surrounded myself with people that would reflect that back to me, and just more hurt, and I'm embarrassed about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people that would love to live more years, or that would love to be given said certain life, and I feel like I wasted those years. And actually realizing that
mm-hmm.
and getting embarrassed about it, pushed me.
You go there.
Oh, I do go there.
So that's change can take different amounts of time for anyone, and you can't really be upset about the amount of time it takes, because now that it's put you in the place where now you realize change can happen in an instant.
Right, and I don't regret that time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm embarrassed that I wasted all that time, and that I could have used that youth and that all of those wonderful things and had wonderful experiences, and I could have whatever. But I don't regret it, because that was my journey.
Right,
and I own that, and I never would be able to come from a place of wisdom, and I wouldn't be able to talk to women from a place of, oh, I've actually physically been there.
Yeah.
The place that you are. And I had such a wealth of experience in that, what should have been my youth,
mm-hmm.
that I can talk to women, decades older than me, and we relate. We're speaking the same language.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm so deeply grateful.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never be able to do what I do now.
Yeah.
From a place of power.
Right. Well, I think that this study is really interesting to, maybe promote some social change in that way.
Well, it's funny because Louise Hay is really big on mirror work.
Yeah, she is.
And
it forces you to look at yourself, and in this situation, they had to look at what they were eating from a perspective.
So that would be a negative use of the mirror.
Right.
Now, hers is basically she teaches you to talk to yourself in the mirror, which sounds crazy, but in a loving way. And people that have done it say that it's very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Looking yourself in the eye and telling yourself that you're perfect and you're loved and all that stuff. I mean, that's really powerful.
Oh, yes. It is. Now, for Louise Hay, it's I mean, there's no real rules around it, but she gets serious about the mirror work. She's got...
Well, it works. She's passionate about it.
She's very passionate about it. She has writing on the mirror and Post-its, and then you go in the mirror and you read them to yourself, and you look yourself in the eye, and I've heard people get emotional about it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that have never heard. A lot of us, have never heard that we're wonderful from a genuine place from anyone that's been looking us in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
People's what I've come across in terms of people's biggest criticisms is you feel like you're lying.
You do at first.
At first.
Yeah.
And how do you get through that you feel like you're lying? Because
Well,
I get asked that question all the time. I'm just going to be lying to myself if I do affirmations or if I try to meditate, because things are hard right now.
Right, but that's life. There's, like I say, all change in life is you should envision it like a mountain. And you have to get out in front of yourself and pull yourself at the beginning up that mountain. Because change is uncomfortable. Change takes work. Change takes effort. You know, did I want to exercise every day when I started working out? No. Was I lying to myself? No. I was using my brain to know that I had to get myself out of the rut.
Mm-hmm.
So my higher self got out and made Amy get up out of bed every day, go work out, and until it became something that Amy realized, this feels amazing and I want to keep this going.
Yes.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get out in front of yourself.
There's that moment when it flips.
Well, and I think a lot of TV and a lot of, you know, commercials and all these things, and once in a while this does happen for people, but you should think of it more like lightning striking. Motivation often doesn't come in like a, oh, I'm motivated, I'm gonna be great. Like, for some, lightning striking for some people, that does happen. They have a moment of clarity and they're like, oh, and it clicks and they go forever. They just, life is better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't personally think that that's the average situation. I think motivation is created. Motivation is nurtured.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And that's a great way to start it.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
You know, a painful experience can motivate you momentarily to do something, or, you know, just being sick enough of your life can momentarily motivate you to do whatever. But motivation is created. You have to propel yourself. You have to get out in front of yourself and make choices, higher choices for yourself. And a lot of the time, you know, maybe visualizing yourself as a child. The same way that you know that you have to make better choices for a child until they're able to make those choices for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you give your children the best food possible because you know living on chocolate would hurt them in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So if you envision yourself as a child and your higher self says, you have to exercise every day. I know you don't want to, but you have to.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point that will change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there will be a surrender point. It will click, and your motivation will pull you.
Yeah. Well, how does that saying go? You're pushed by
pain pulls you. No, pain pushes you until
yeah, until you're pulled by vision, or until you're pulled by motivation.
Yeah.
Until motivation pulls you.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, those are our 3 topics for today. So basically, at the end of the month, we're going to have some new recommendations for alcohol intake. If you have a high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high liver enzymes, you know, a disease risk profile that because of your family history, then there's going to be some negative impact to alcohol consumption. The amount will be, you know, we'll figure that out at the end of the month. But what the recommendations are, because they may change in North America as well. In terms of food consumption, that mirror study, I'm interested in this. Because I think there's bigger implications than just the 100 people they studied in these 2 rooms. I think it's going to be interesting about, you know, how our consciousness works towards food and how that goes. And then making your own food. What was it? You feel healthier?
you enjoy it more.
You enjoy it more.
You think it tastes better.
Yes.
I think automatically everyone's brain goes, I don't know. When I go to a restaurant, it tastes pretty good. But I think it's about surrounded healthy food and.
Yeah. Well, the study they did was just the smoothie. So it's just looking at the difference between a chocolate smoothie and a healthy smoothie.
Mm-hmm.
I think restaurant tests would be good. Because we'd be looking at a chef making something versus you making something. That's it. Well, that's episode 2 of Healthy Rebel Radio. Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.
Okay, see you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamieHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamieHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamieHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at DamieHealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us and see you tomorrow.